This week in the world of news from books, beards, and brews. All right, as always, I'm Bob of Tales by Bob.
I'm the ass of the podcast, Derek.
I am creative consultant Tanya.
And this is our weekly news episode where we round up and bring unto you the latest and greatest news in the topics of books, beards, and booze. And I get to come up with really shitty pun headlines.
Yikes.
I feel like you've been not putting it in very much effort.
I put some work in this week.
Okay.
Putting in that work.
So this headline is sounds tempting.
Okay.
Templeton Rye's 4 and 6 year aged whiskeys each received the coveted SFWSC gold medal.
Nice.
Which exemplifies exceptional products near the pinnacle of achievement that set the standards for others in the rye whiskey category.
That would make sense as to why I like it then.
Yeah. So the co-founder of this, of Templeton, said, "We are delighted to be awarded these 2 gold medals. This is a real crowning distinction for us. With our newly opened Templeton distillery now gathering steam and our international rollout of the Templeton brand, 2019 is shaping up to be our most exciting year yet, both at home and abroad." So SFWSC stands for like San Francisco something another. It's considered
Whiskey Brewers Conglomerate.
I don't know.
WBC?
It's considered the most influential spirits competition in the world, and it was held in late March and judged nearly 3,000 entries, the largest number in its 19-year history, and that included over 100 rye whiskeys, and Templeton beat them all.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
I mean, I had it that one time. I need to try it again.
I'm not big on rye, and I liked it.
I tried that other rye. I tried Redemption Rye.
Oh, how was that?
It was good. I don't think I like it more than Templeton, though.
Yeah.
I think Templeton I like more.
I'm really excited. I've been buying up liquor since I'm not drinking right now, and I'm trying to buy like a bottle a week, and I want to have a bunch of different liquors so that I can try them next to each other.
Yeah. To actually taste.
Yeah. Oh no, don't worry, Derek. You'll be there.
I was about to say we need to do a podcast.
Oh no, we will. Oh no, don't worry. Oh, don't worry.
Your triumphant return.
Well, once this 100 days is over, he's want to go to that whiskey bar.
I really want to
try a bunch of things, and we're thinking about doing a.
They have a basil. Episode. They have a flight of Basil Haydens, and I've never had.
Which is rye heavy.
I've never gotten to have basil. I've never had Basil Hayden. I almost bought a bottle. I ended up getting a bottle of Larceny yesterday. It was my treat to myself this week.
But what I think we should do is, since you haven't tasted any of it in a while, I feel like on your time back, we should, before going to the bar,
just try a bunch of stuff.
Try the things that you're buying and do an episode about the tastings. See if you can differentiate now. And we'll even do it with like water to rinse it.
No, I'm with it.
Let's do this. All right, that sounds fun.
Yeah. Please send me your recommendations of what I should buy. What like something in the like $30 bottle.
I might could help
$30 bottle range. Like I could maybe go a little higher. We're talking for like a 750 milliliter. I don't buy smaller than 750 milliliter.
He ain't about that life, and neither am I, to be perfectly honest.
But okay, so this headline is someone was very Columbusy.
Huh?
What?
So 500 years ago, a bastard son of Christopher Columbus assembled one of the greatest libraries the world has ever known.
What?
Apparently, he was like, you know what? My dad is fucking exploring the world, and I'm going to do it with books, basically. So most of the books have been lost to history because this was, back 500 years ago.
It was a long time
Shocker,
ago.
The library didn't stay together. But they just found a summary book. He had his
like
library
a ledger or something.
Well, it's
what's the word I'm looking for?
It's like a
catalog. It's like
catalog.
a catalog. Yeah. So basically, what he did was he hired a bunch of people to read all the books and write short summaries, and they put it all into this one big book. So the book is almost a foot thick. It has over it's over 2,000 pages long.
What?
That's baller.
Yeah. So
And that's just the book of summaries.
Yeah, that's just the book, the book of the books. So think
cool.
of how big that library had to be. Like, if it's one book per page, that's 2,000 books. But it had to be more than that, I'm sure. So, so the newly discovered manuscript is, and I quote, an absolutely gorgeous thing, says Edward Wilson Lee, author of the Catalog of Shipwrecked Books, a biography of Christopher Columbus's son, Hernando Colon. It's about the size of a coffee table book. So he undertook this project to build a universal library that would have every book in the world in it. And he very much saw this as a counterpart to his father's desire to circumnavigate the world. So Hernando was going to build a universal library that would circumnavigate the world of knowledge.
That's cool.
So, book went missing. No one knew where it was. They found it in Denmark.
What?
It had got somehow mixed in with a collection of books from Iceland. And so no one was like going in there. Like, if you're researching books on Iceland, you're not paying a lot of attention to the book in Spanish in the collection,
Yeah.
And so eventually someone was up there was like,
I wonder what the Spanish book is.
Oh, hey, what's this all about? And so they found it. And I saw a picture of it. It is gorgeous. So it's going to take a few years, but they're going to translate it and digitize it. And so you'll be able to go check it out.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's really cool because, like, there's a lot of these books are lost. Like, they've never, we don't have any copies of them. So at least it's like, oh, hey, well, here's the name of this book and here's what it was about, So
I imagine that they're going to be able to find, like, books that were referenced in other books that no longer exist, and now they'll have a summary of what that book was.
Well, that's something in biblical scholarship. Like, I did a lot of that in my anthropology degree, and there are books of the Bible that we know existed but don't have because other people mention it. This person, like this church father mentions that he was checking out this book, and this book. And so we have this book and this book, but we don't have this book. So we know it exists, so people try and find it, kind of deal. So, neat.
Neato burrito.
So this headline, it's short. It's called "Beating Around the Bush," but spelled like the beer.
Busch beer? Okay.
But it's not about Busch beer. Oh, getting trickstery.
Yikes.
It's about...
That's Bush League.
Snap. It's about Kyle Busch. So I want to dedicate this piece of news to our buddies over at the Rushmore Pod.
Okay.
They are... we're currently engaged...
Do you want an apple?
You should go check out... They have a delightful song about a horse... on YouTube that you should check out. I'm not going to. It's not for children.
Yeah.
Because all the F-bombs we drop are for children.
Oh, it's
more than just...
No, I'm just saying,
I don't want to fuck you. I don't want to fuck you, no. There's more than that.
Oh, it's fucking great. I love... Like, I've literally been singing that song off and on because it gets stuck in your head.
I went to bed last night, got home super late, and I was like, I don't want to fuck you, no. Right now. Oh, yeah. It's great.
No. It's about a horse. Anyway,
Yeah.
So also they came out as being anti-Fun Hat, and I didn't realize I was pro-Fun Hat. I didn't realize that there were people that weren't. I didn't realize that pro-Fun Hat was a stance you had to take.
Yeah.
But I take that stance. And I think here on our podcast, we're a pro-Fun Hat podcast.
Have to be.
I think
life's too short to not... you gotta have long beards and funny hats.
I think we need to address something, though.
Yeah.
I'm the ass of the podcast. I'm anti-fun.
And
I still like fucking fancy hats.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm a cat hat.
We have come down firmly on the pro-Fun Hat.
Yes.
But other than their insane anti-Fun Hat stance, they're a fun podcast. They sit down and they talk about, they pick a topic and discuss their favorite of a thing.
The Rushmore podcast.
Yeah. They discuss their Mount Rushmore of whatever topic. Anywho.
Mount Rushmore of podcasts, me.
They actually did a Mount Rushmore
from the Magic Tavern.
They did a Mount Rushmore
and
of podcasts
do you remember
about
pizza
Rushmore.
at McDonald's? That would be.
That's so trippy.
It's so fucking weird.
Don't get me started on podcasts, guys.
So anyway, Pepper, one of their co-hosts, is a big NASCAR fan for some reason. People do that, I guess.
If you only like left turns.
If you only like left turns.
We are not... Look, I just had a long ass... Like, legitimately, it's hilarious that you mentioned this. I had like a 2-hour-long debate with Ohio
about the
Chris.
merits of NASCAR?
Well, don't y'all watch a racing anime?
Yeah, and we just finished it.
Isn't it terrible? But like so terrible, it's great.
It started terrible, and then like just pulls you in.
What's it called?
Initial D.
Initial D.
And it's got the greatest soundtrack of all time. But no, that's kind of how it came up, and we ended up having this big long debate. He was like, "How do you not know more about NASCAR? You live in the South. Like, what's wrong with you? Well, how do I know more about this than you?"
We live not too far from Talladega.
Yeah.
But it turned into this whole conversation with like, what's wrong with NASCAR? Like, why is the viewership going down? And like, I have very strong opinions on this, even though I don't really follow NASCAR. But
I have stereotypical opinions about this. I
legitimately don't care about NASCAR one way or the other. It's just a fun thing to poke fun at on occasion.
Like wrestling.
But I'll kill you. But no, let's be real quick, just because it mentions it, and I'll move right past it, I promise.
Yeah.
You're going to zoom right past it in the left-hand turn.
There you go. So, the problem is, with NASCAR, the fact that you can't appreciate how fucking hard it is what they're doing because their announcers are shit at getting that across to the crowd or the audience.
That's fair.
If you don't understand what you're seeing, then you can't appreciate it.
We're going to get some angry fan mail from Ryan. Not you won't. Me and Tanya will. Ryan's a big NASCAR fan.
Oh, hit me up, Ryan. We need to talk about this.
Here's the thing. I drive like a grandma. So when I'm going like 80...
You're fucking terrified?
If I've got to go fast and I'm going 80... I'm not Ricky Bobby. I can't.
Butthole puckered.
Yeah, 2 hands.
I'm going to 80 and these people 100%. Are passing by me. It's like, slow down. It'll be there when you get there.
And it's, like, I mean, they're going like 200 or some ridiculous shit.
Like, think about going like 60 and you're going on like one of those ramps off the interstate. Like my arm,
with a bunch of people, like a bunch of other people going the same speed trying to get around you.
Yeah, it's fucking insane. Like it's hard as fuck. That's why I hate, like, people that know how hard it is, they get it.
Well,
but
again, it's similar to wrestling, where you look at it, it's like, well, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah,
but they still have to be physically fit, and maybe it's scripted, but you're still having to physically lift this guy and flip around.
If you don't understand what you're seeing, you can't appreciate it. And they do a shit job, because...
That makes sense.
All they do is just kind of talk like, oh, well, the car's running real good today. And I'm like, well,
like,
what does that mean?
Like John Madden in his football commentary.
My whole thing is like, I can appreciate it, and I like going fast, and it's kind of interesting. But if you could explain it to me,
that's fair.
I would. Yeah, I am interested in anything.
That's
a
valid point. I will perhaps make less fun of the people making.
I just think it's hilarious that you brought that up after, right? Oh no, you make fun of it.
Yeah.
No, don't talk about.
I'm gonna do it.
So now to talk about the actual bit of news.
There we go.
Okay.
Sorry.
This is supposed to be like the shortest piece. But Kyle Busch says that he might have to keep growing his beard if he continues to get top 10 finishes with it.
There you go.
Yeah,
the power.
Victory
the
lap
beard. The beard. I'm pretty sure the beard is reaching down and taking the wheel. Jesus take the wheel. How about Jesus' beard take the wheel?
Well, why do you think he had the beard?
Beardus take the wheel.
Beardus take the wheel. So yeah, power of the beard at work. So this is, I feel this guy's pain in a real visceral way. This headline is Rats Foiled Again. A Massachusetts man who opened an antique bottle of rat poison he thought contained whiskey was taken to the hospital after complaining of burning on his hands and throat.
Y'all can't see this out in podcast land, but Derek and I just simultaneously, bug-eyed, mouth agape, just slow turn to look at each other.
No.
Like,
what's wrong with your boy?
Well, no, he
drank rat poison.
No, but
bitch.
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Sell us.
Okay. The man said he had bought several bottles at auction and was told they were at least 60 years old and probably contained whiskey. So he was told, like, dude, you're buying this whiskey. Now, here's where I take issue with it. So, Fall River Fire Captain Neil Furtado tells the Herald News that firefighters responded to a self-storage facility in the city at 7:30. So there's one of two things that happened here. One, this guy goes to an auction, buys this whiskey, air quotes, and then goes to a storage facility to drink it. Or B, this guy bought a 60-year bottle of whiskey from a storage auction and drank it on the spot. That's where I have a problem. If
No,
you're
you
drinking
don't.
60-year-old
No.
whiskey, I don't know that you drink, like, you go to a storage shed to drink it. Come on.
Bro,
What if he lives in
But,
a storage shed?
but you buy it. Like, I'm not going to buy it on the spot and drink 60-year-old whiskey.
Yeah, who here would ever drink whiskey at a container where you store things?
Well, no, I have got drunk in storage sheds many times. A lot. Like a disturbing number of times have I been staggered drunk in a storage shed. But
if the answer is one, it's a disturbing number of times.
that's fair. But
That's the best time. You can puke anywhere. It's fine. It's gravel.
But that said, I was drinking Heaven Hill. I wasn't drinking, in theory,
Hold
what
on
was
now.
a 60-year
Oh,
bottle of
60
whiskey.
year, not
So,
$60.
here's
My
the
bad.
Oh, no,
thing.
60-year bottle
Oh,
of
well,
whiskey.
I don't know what the fuck he was doing.
So when my gramps died, he had a bar. Like, some of it was labeled, a lot of it was not. What did we drink? We don't know, but we
So-
drank it.
So here's
Like, I
here's
feel
where the
this
guy-
guy on
Yeah.
a deep level. I want to laugh at him, but also I drank a lot of bottles of I don't know what.
Well, here's where he
after
got
Gramps
lucky.
died.
So, Furtado, the fire captain, says the only bottle he opened contained strychnine powder used as rat poison. A hazardous materials team responded and tested the other bottles, some of which contained acid.
Oh shit!
Yeah, if this guy had opened a different bottle, he would have swilled acid. So,
Like tripping acid or burn your body.
burn
acid?
your body. Acid wasn't invented 60 years ago, I don't think.
I don't know drug science.
I think it was invented it is like it's been like the 60s, I think.
Yeah, which is like 60
it
years
is now
from
60. Yeah, but yeah, no, they weren't mass producing acid and putting it in jugs in storage sheds.
So he-
I don't reckon.
Yikes. So thankfully he only drank rat poison.
Well,
Yeah.
if you acid me, I still think it's a bad idea.
I just think it was dumb that he was trying to drink potentially 60-year-old whiskey at a storage shed. Like either wait till you get home and try with some friends.
If you
like,
got 60-year-old whiskey money or whatever,
Yeah.
like maybe have that shit tested before you drink it.
Yeah.
Nondescript bottle
well,
of
I
baby
know
whiskey.
this guy. Like, if he probably just bought, like, he probably got.
But
a
if he had
steal
done
a
it
deal,
before,
you
if it
know?
looks, I mean, it's the same.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Here's my last headline: Swing and a Mister. Did y'all know that? Oh fuck! What's 50 Shades? E.L.
Gray.
James.
Oh,
E.L.
I
James
don't fucking know.
wrote a new book,
Yes.
Really?
The Mister.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, she did. I didn't realize this. She wrote the 50 Shades trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
She has since written 2 books. She's rewritten the first 2 books of that trilogy from the dude's perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize. I knew she'd done one. I thought she just kind of rewritten the whole trilogy from his perspective, but no, she's doing a book by book retelling of it from Christian's perspective.
Look, I'm too busy reading good books.
Oh my god. So
I read all 3 of those books. They were not good.
okay, so here's a little bit about.
you came real close to getting thrown out of my
Here's
house. If
a-
you could have made it through the first one, I don't know. You're
Here's the thing,
I
like,
read the first one.
The smut part becomes repetitive, but then there is some actually like some semblance of a story of something that's happening. And so towards the second and third book, I'm like, y'all, no one's fucking like this. Y'all have been dating too long to be just randomly banging all the time. No one has sex like this. Get back to the action. There's literally a guy chasing you in a helicopter, and you've pulled over to like
Wait,
strap
what?
her to the back top of a car and poke her with cattle prods. Like,
What?
but there's a helicopter coming. Y'all,
come up the hell
stop.
right now. What is going?
Get
Why
the
is there a
dick out of your mouth.
helicopter?
yeah,
and run.
where I read
First
the
of
first
all, I
book,
need-
there were no helicopters.
I need you to relax with that. She does not have to do that. She can leave her mouth doing that while they get the fuck away from a goddamn helicopter.
yeah.
Don't
I'm just
ruin
saying.
this.
All right,
No
so-
one.
So
I know.
No.
this would
I didn't realize that weird shit like that. Like I thought it was just
Yeah, I didn't know we got to helicopter
I
chases.
didn't.
No, I mean,
I didn't
like,
know
the-
we went Fast and Furious in this bitch.
That's why I ended up reading all 3 of them, because there is some semblance of
Well,
a story
I'll say
there and
this:
some
the
action.
Twilight books, 3.5 of those books are absolute trash, but the last half of the last book is like vampire politics and actually pretty fucking cool.
Is it 4 books?
Is it 4 books? I thought it was 4 books.
Oh, I never
Yeah.
read Twilight.
No, it's
3
4
books.
movies. It's 3 books,
They're-
isn't it?
whatever.
I
Last
don't
half
fucking
of the
know.
last book is good. Anyway,
I'll get yelled at this for work later.
it's probably.
Yeah.
All right. So the 2 main characters are Maxim Trevelyan.
That's a name right there.
He is a British earl, part-time model, and DJ.
Oh, yikes.
Like
he sounds like a douche canoe.
His job is a DJ,
God,
but he's
that
a
sounds-
part-time model for the sex. He's a part-time model so he can have sex with other models.
Yeah,
And
because
then
being
his-
an earl just doesn't get you enough.
Then his older brother dies, and he has to become the earl. So he's mega wealthy model DJ British earl.
God, this guy
Sell.
sounds like such a wanker.
All right, so
Sell.
she is a no shit young woman who has been sex trafficked to the UK. She's a victim of sex trafficking, but she like breaks loose.
this
and
is going to go
becomes-
super fucking sideways.
and becomes his maid.
Yep,
Yeah,
that was
His
sideways.
sex maid.
yeah. She becomes
Sure. Would you like your knob polished? Like,
because she
Gross.
is.
Well, that was. Why did you stop talking your normal accent?
No, I think she's like Czechoslovakian. So I read like a brief little clip, like someone like
What the fuck even is
The
this?
Atlantic did a review of it, and they're like, here's the scene where they meet kind of deal. And she was like, I clean your house. That was
Jesus.
like,
wait,
So-
She's
where is
so
that,
s-
like, I clean?
She's so
Yeah.
smart. She's like, I can't write dialogue.
oh, but get this.
I know.
Oh, but no, get this. So
Christ.
this girl, this sex trafficked girl, is a classical piano prodigy with synesthesia,
Synesthesia?
which is where you can see sound
Taste colors.
and taste
stuff.
colors.
There's a
stuff like that.
whole lot going on. in
There's
this
a
story.
lot going on here.
God, I bet it's written so fucking poorly.
No, so okay, it's selling well, but the reviews are this book is trash. Like that, all the reviews are universal. Like this book is trash, but guess what? The
She's
50
still making
Shades book
money.
were trash, and So
She's
get
still making
this.
money.
Okay, here's some disturbing. I didn't know she was British. I figured something like 50 Shades had to be written by an American. No, it's good to know that there are British people writing
There's
shit
too
as well.
much of like, I want my tea with a little bit of milk. Only British people put milk in their tea like
Only people
fucking
drink,
heathens.
like-
Like,
all right.
milk in your coffee, sure. Milk in your tea, get the fuck out of
Let's
my
be and,
country.
and let's be fair. There's no
Gross.
way in hell anyone in America writes about someone drinking tea that's not sweet.
Or uses the
Yeah.
word avuncular.
I don't
That's-
even, I don't know what that
she
means.
she
That is how I
masturbates
kn-
with a thesaurus.
Yeah, that's how I know that someone has secretly read 50 Shades and they don't want to admit it. You drop the word avuncular, which means like an uncle, because this bitch described a dude as avuncular like 30 fucking times. No one uses that word. She uses that word an excessive amount of time. So you want to figure out somebody who's read 50 Shades, just throw avuncular. If they look at you like your face right now, like the fuck is that word? You didn't read 50 Shades.
I'm excited to go to work on Monday.
Yeah.
All right.
Avuncular.
So here's some disturbing facts
Why are you gonna have
about
a smut
this
book
book.
describing people like your uncle?
Unless it was a very
Here-
specific one.
Here's
Gross.
some facts that are going to hurt your soul. Okay, so stats. It sold 52,674 physical copies in its first week on sale.
The Mister?
The Mister. It's not moving quite as fast as the 50 Shades book, though. Darker, which retold the second book of 50 Shades from the perspective of Christian Grey, sold 86,000 copies, while Grey, its predecessor, sold almost 400,000 physical copies in its first week.
Hopefully people are realizing she just writes garbage.
50 Shades of Grey, her first novel, has sold more than 6 million copies to date and is, wait for it, the best-selling novel of all time in Britain.
Wait,
the
she beat Harry Potter?
In Britain. The combined novels have sold over 125 million copies worldwide, over 35 million copies in the United States, and set the record in the UK as the fastest selling paperback of all time.
Look, here's the
For fan fiction. For poorly written,
literary erotica.
not
Yeah.
good smut fan fiction.
Very
You can go to literotica.com and get so much
Yeah.
better smut
For free.
for free.
I mean, I was thinking it, but I wasn't going to say it.
Yeah, and also like
I'm trying to help the audience. Go to
Respect.
fucking Literotica.
Yeah.
Like, that shit is free.
Another thing to point out, like those books, like if you were involved, like I've read a lot of reviews that they're like, look, okay, it's smut, it's okay, it's fine, but it's actually like really problematic because like it has some real issues with
Consent and actual BDSM culture. Like, that is not
like
how it's
if
done.
you learn about BDSM for 50 Shades and go to BDSM club stuff,
Your kid
they're going to be like,
they're
"Get out."
gonna kick you out.
So it's funny that you should mention that, since I had one piece of news.
Okay, yeah,
but there was
I'm
another.
done,
There was another
so.
piece of news that I didn't go with that touches on this.
Okay.
That I will now briefly mention, but
It's
I
relevant.
didn't go into too much detail. I found this article that was like, "Here's 12 books you don't have to read, or you have my permission to not read."
Okay.
First of all, that shit pissed me off. I spent like an hour reading it and getting angry. Like, who the fuck do you think you are to tell me what I have permission to not read? Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I got.
Okay,
But,
no,
but
I'm with that
listicles
anger.
do that, though.
I'm
Yeah,
with that
fuck
anger.
that
But
noise.
what,
Ooh, I
what
was
were some
mad.
of the examples on there?
50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah,
That was
okay.
like, I was looking through this list and I was like, how dare you tell me? And then there was a couple of things, and like one of them that I wanted to be, I kind of pretended like I was mad at, but
Yeah,
I wasn't
Sometimes
really.
it feels
'Cause
good to work up a good mad. You know?
I usually only get mad at like things that matter, but like this one, I was just like, okay, this pissed me off. So I was like, don't tell me what books I have permission to read. Fuck,
Yeah.
get out of here with that shit. But that one, and it was like, yeah, this is kind of fucked up. Like, maybe don't do, because a lot of them, it was like the argument for not reading it was some bullshit.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cite how what the opinion you just said is true about the book, and then maybe I'll consider that. But you're basically just saying you didn't like it. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't do anything for me, because the things that you didn't like, I might like.
I mean,
Yeah.
I liked them enough that I read all three of them, but
Oh no, but that one I was like, no,
in
that's
book
fine.
like 2 and 3, I was literally just flipping over her repetitive
Sex
just fucking
scenes,
sex
just
scenes
moving.
because
Yeah,
they're not poor, they're not written well. I have
I'm
read
aware.
better smut, but they're not written well. They are problematic from a consent point of view. And then also, there's a fucking helicopter coming. What are you doing? So,
Fucking Bob like came to work with one day. He was like, Derek, listen to this, and just read like a sentence. I was like, who the fuck wrote that? He's like, that's 50 Shades of Grey. And I was like, get the fuck out
Yeah.
of here.
Yeah.
The
That
thing,
is
the thing that kills me
trash.
about them is like ellipses.
Oh no,
She
I don't want to
uses
talk
like
about this.
20 ellipses a page.
but
like,
while
you should
she
use, like,
bites
2
her
a book.
lips and thinks about her avuncular person with her milk tea, I
Ugh.
bite my lip in the hardware store.
All right, no, we're done.
Okay,
here.
but
Okay,
anyway,
wait, no.
that was the whole thing.
Well,
Yeah,
I love how this is all kind of tying into what I brought for news
Oh,
as
okay.
well
Okay.
in a
Oh, yeah,
weird
do,
way.
Okay, yeah, do your
What
news.
you
Okay.
got? What you
So you were talking about like books that people have permission to not read.
Mission.
I found a list of like books that everyone starts but no one actually finishes.
Ooh, interesting.
So like the top 5 classics, Catch 22 by Joseph Heller, which I don't think I've actually read.
I have not read.
It's on my TBR. I think I own it. I haven't actually
Haven't
read it
read
yet. Lord of the Rings by Tolkien, which I finished.
I finished.
It's hefty, so
Oh,
I
well,
can
I
see
mean,
where someone
I'm
would
one of
start
those
and not
people.
finish.
I'm one of those people, so
Ulysses by James Joyce.
yeah.
I can see that. I have never
That's
started.
really long,
I've never
isn't it?
started it because I knew I probably
Yeah.
wouldn't finish it.
Moby Dick by Melville, which I think I finished, but only because of college. But
Yeah.
even then, I don't think I actually read the whole thing.
I
I
don't think I
probably
did
cliff
either.
notes
Skip
it.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand, because that book is fucking trash.
Tanya is
Ooh.
still trying to.
I finally just
you
admitted
find
to myself
that you're
I'm
not gonna finish it?
Yeah, I deleted it
But you
off
know
of my
that was,
phone. Yeah.
and this will surprise absolutely no one that knew my dad, but that was his favorite book. That and Catcher in the Rye.
I
love
hear that
Catcher in the
there's
Rye.
I hear that
Oh,
there's
yeah, I like Catcher in the Rye.
aspects of that book that are really good, and then it's paired with other aspects that you're like, the fuck is
Like
this?
basically what I like. If you like the concept of objectivism, which is like Ayn Rand's
Yeah,
philosophy,
well
you'll
aware.
love it. Like if you agree with that, you should love it. But also, apparently, she like there's one part of the book that's like 60 pages of just her distilling that
Yeah.
philosophy.
See, I've actually heard that there are people that legitimately stand by part of that philosophy, but are still like, there are parts of this book that, and then there's other parts that are, what the fuck is this?
I listened. It's a 44-hour listen. I got 12 hours in, and
we're done.
They laid like 3 miles of train track. And I'm out. I'm out.
Were there anything more on the...
Oh, okay. And so 5 books just overall. Okay, so someone came... This is based on Goodreads as of July of 2013 when they did the last of these. Below, it's the overall list of most abandoned books. So Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling, which I didn't even know was a thing.
That's her. You know, she after Harry Potter, she started writing
that was
murder mysteries under an assumed name, but then they found out who she was.
So they just
okay. So her 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James, one of the most abandoned books. Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. That's stupid.
That sounds about right.
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
I finished it, but I can see why people wouldn't.
I never started it because I heard that it was a very graphic, rapey bit in there.
There is,
so
but there's a very
I never started it.
thick. That's a thick mystery.
Yeah, and then Wicked by Gregory Maguire, the Wicked Witch of the West book.
I had a copy of that, but I never read it.
So, someone came up with an index on Goodreads. You know, you can highlight quotes and stuff in your book. So it's the Hawking Index that this math professor made up, where it calculates how far people are reading into books based on how far in the book they highlight. And so they figure up a percentage of people who got all the way through a book. And so the top 5 books that people have quit based on their highlights, which that's sketchy. I read a lot of things that I don't highlight.
I find that I tend to highlight more early in a book, and the more invested I get into the book,
the more I'm reading the book,
the more I'm just like really just into it, and I don't highlight as much.
You know how I am with prose.
Yeah,
they try harder with the prose at the beginning of the books than they do throughout the course.
Yeah.
So I'll highlight stuff at the beginning and then
The top 5 abandoned books based to that Hawking Index. Hard Choices by Hillary Clinton with only 1.9% finishing. Capital by Thomas Piketty. I've never heard of that. 2.4% finished. Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. That's on my TBR. Only 6.4 have finished. A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. Like some of these, and Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Like, I can see where people would maybe start those and not finish, or just not highlight them, because they're more like learning books and not I'm going to take a quip.
Yeah.
But 50 Shades of Grey, according to the Hawking Index, only 25.9% finish.
Well, the people are just going in there. What would you fucking highlight?
I'm not going to highlight a piece of smut and not good smut. I just want to go through and highlight every time she says avuncular.
Oh my god, that would be great.
Petty highlights.
That'd be amazing.
Petty highlights.
But every ellipses.
For that, the Hawking Index suggests The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I have this book. I bought it. I haven't read it. There's a lot of buzz about it.
Is this like, instead of this crappy book, read this good version of the book?
98.5% of people, based on the Hawking Index, have finished The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt.
And they're suggesting it because it's similar?
No, because, hey, a lot of people actually finished this book.
I thought it was like in comparison.
If you want to actually read a book cover to cover, statistically speaking, a lot of people read this one.
I want one of those where they take those books that people stop reading and then find a comparable one that a lot of people finish.
True.
That's what I thought you were saying. That'd be awesome.
This news article spun me over to, they talked about like good books that nobody's read, or abandoned books that are really good that just don't get the play and the recognition. We talk a lot about that, like really good books that don't get the recognition that they deserve. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a website called neglectedbooks.com, and what they do is they read all of these, like, someone had asked F. Scott Fitzgerald, like, what was his top 5 favorite books that, need more love, and he, they found his list of 5, read those, wrote the reviews on it. It was like, no, these are actually really solid books that are being forgotten. So neglectedbooks.com, I went and poked around there.
We have to go check. We might
that
do an
just
episode
gave
on
me
that at some point.
Between this and another thing we talked about, I now have an idea for what I will be doing moving forward for news.
Oh, I like it.
I'm gonna have my own segment.
I like it. Do it.
Okay.
You had one last little bit of news.
Yes.
Derek.
Found a recent book that I'm excited about. And by excited about, I mean I immediately bought the Audible book version of it
Okay.
as soon as I found out that it had come out, even though I'd never heard of it. It's called Upon a Burning Throne by Ashok K. Banker.
Okay.
The short little thing that I wrote about it is, in a world where demigods and demons live alongside humans, the death of an empire's ruler throws everything into turmoil. Two princes seek to prove they are worthy to rule by passing the test of fire, but the daughter of a demon lord from an outlying kingdom also passes the test of fire, but is refused the right to potentially be the heir. End result, her dad goes to war and is going to destroy the empire.
I like it.
From what I understand, it's written by, I've said his name again. I'm going to not say it again because I looked up how to say it, but I'm still concerned I'm saying it wrong.
Here, let me look at it. I'll butcher it for you.
Okay.
Where are we at here? Ashok K. Banker.
Yeah.
Ashok
He's Indian.
K. Banker.
And he's apparently like super famous for some of the stuff he's done over there. Big time seller. So
Yeah.
I was really excited about it. But it's inspired by the Mahabharata, or however you say it.
Maharaja.
No.
No.
Maharabata.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking about Aladdin.
Anyways, that's
Wow.
racist.
Wow. Okay.
But I saw this. I thought it sounded interesting. Then I thought about it some more and looked into, found out about him and stuff like that. And remembered, so that's a book that came out recently. I bought it. I'm going to listen to it. I'm excited. But it also brought up another thing. So one of my favorite books that I read when I was in school was a specific version of the Ramayana
Yeah.
that I had to read for school. But I lost it or sold it back, I forget which, and could not remember who wrote it because there's
Tons of translations.
tons of yeah. And this one went out of its way to make the combat really cool from what I remember. And when I saw this, I can neither confirm nor deny that I went to image search and put in Ramayana and then just kept scrolling until I found the cover so I could find out who wrote it.
Yeah.
And then I may or may not have immediately went and bought it on Amazon. So
Nice.
I have this version of this book that I really enjoyed,
Yeah.
written in such a way that I really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to reading
Oh, yeah.
What a nice.
Nice. All right. Well, I think that was we were worried this was going to be a short episode.
No, we're good.
And we,
But you give Derek coffee and he'll talk
Yeah.
about anything.
Yeah, it came out just perfect.
Baby
So-
girl, do you want an apple?
So he,
Wed in chapel.
So here's-
it's so catchy. It's
I'm going
Here's-
to make Derek listen to this song in
here's
between.
what I'm going to start doing on the news episodes.
Okay.
I'm going to find a book and I'm going to make a sales pitch, and I need you two to tell me if you would buy or sell.
Ooh,
I like it. I like
dig
it. Yeah.
And I also might take good books and try and screw up and see if I can't make you buy them or
pick
sell
out-
them.
Yeah. Oh, I like
Love
that.
it.
Oh, that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
describe your job poorly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
All right. Well, in the coming week, as you approach the mailbox that is your week, I hope that you open it and find it filled with many delightful party invites and lottery
Checks.
winnings,
Not bills.
and no bills. And may the blessing of the beard be upon you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Books, Beards, Booze. Our co-hosts are Bob, Derek, and Tanya. Our producer is Bob. For more information, visit our website, booksbeardsbooze.com. Follow our social media at Tales by Bob. If you enjoyed this podcast, please rate, subscribe, and share. Okay, bye.